Welcome to the deep dive. Okay, today we're jumping into a topic I know causes a lot of concern, especially for anyone managing diabetes. We're talking about fruit.
Yeah, there's this almost gut reaction, isn't there? Fruit means sugar, so it must be bad if you have diabetes.
Exactly. It feels like this automatic no-go zone.
That
But
is.
what if? What if that's not the whole story? What if some fruits could actually, help?
That's precisely what we want to unpack today. Look, the caution is understandable given the standard advice, but when you actually look at the details, the information we've examined, it's way more nuanced than just yes or no.
Right?
So our mission here is to really get into three specific fruits that might not just, avoid big blood sugar spikes, but could potentially offer real benefits for managing blood sugar and just overall health.
Okay, sounds good. We've been digging into this really interesting transcript from Diabetes Healthcare on YouTube. And honestly, it's throwing up some surprising ideas. We're going to focus on apples, mulberries, and bananas. And I've got to say, some of the details might actually shift how you think about them.
Definitely. Ready to jump in.
Let's do it. First up, apples. Now, this is a classic one. Lots of people with diabetes kind of shy away from apples because they're sweet. Is that fear justified?
It's a fair question. They do taste sweet, obviously. So you'd think, okay, sugar spike incoming. But the fascinating part is how the whole apple works together in your body.
Okay.
So yes, a medium apple has about, say, 19 grams of natural sugar. But, and this is key, its glycemic index, which measures how fast it raises blood sugar, is actually low, around 36.
36, that is low.
Right. And the glycemic load, which kind of considers the amount of carbs too, is also low, about 6 for a medium one.
Okay, let's unpack that a bit more. So the sweetness itself isn't the main story.
Not really, no. The really critical piece is the fiber. Apples have a good amount of soluble fiber, maybe 4.4 grams in a medium apple. That's, a decent chunk of your daily need.
Insoluble fiber.
Yeah,
That's the type that slows things down.
exactly. It forms this kind of gel in your stomach and gut. And that physically slows down how quickly the sugar from the apple gets absorbed into your blood. Think of it like a natural time release mechanism.
Okay. So it's not a sudden hit.
Precisely. So even though you've got about 25 grams of total carbs, you subtract that fiber, you're looking at maybe 21 grams of net carbs, what your body really processes.
Right.
And because that natural sugar is packaged up with the fiber and all the water in the apple, it digests much more slowly. It helps avoid those sharp spikes you would get from, say, apple juice where the fiber's gone, or like a candy apple with all that added refined sugar.
That makes total sense. It's the whole package, not just the sugar number.
Exactly. And the benefits don't stop at blood sugar. Apples are packed with other good stuff too.
Like what? Beyond the fiber.
Well, you get vitamin C, good for your immune system, potassium, which is really important for blood pressure and heart health, smaller amounts of other vitamins too, like K, A, B vitamins. But the real stars, arguably, are the antioxidants.
Yes, antioxidants. We hear that word a lot. What kind are we talking about in apples?
Things like quercetin, catechin, chlorogenic acid, these are important because they fight oxidative stress.
Oxidative stress.
Like-
That's like cell damage, right?
Yeah, basically damage from unstable molecules. And that kind of stress is linked to a lot of the long-term problems with diabetes. Think insulin resistance, inflammation that can hurt your nerves, eye problems.
Okay, so the antioxidants are fighting that specific damage.
That's the idea. And there's even some evidence suggesting one of them, quercetin, might actually help improve how sensitive your body is to insulin.
Whoa, okay, so this gets really interesting then. It's not just about not spiking blood sugar. Apples might actually be like actively helping manage the condition.
That's the potential, yes. When you connect the dots, these antioxidants aren't just vaguely healthy. They could be actively fighting the specific stress that leads to serious diabetes complications like nerve damage or vision loss. And for the heart, that fiber plus these compounds help lower the bad LDL cholesterol and cool down inflammation in blood vessels. Plus, apples are low in sodium and phosphorus, which is good news for kidney health, especially early on.
I hadn't really thought about the direct link to nerve damage and vision like that. That's huge.
And there's more. Apples help feed the good bacteria in your gut. And we're learning more and more about how a healthy gut links to better blood sugar control.
Right, the gut microbiome connection.
Exactly. The vitamin C and flavonoids might also protect those tiny blood vessels in your eyes, potentially lowering the risk of diabetic retinopathy. And those plant chemicals. They can help your immune system fight germs and reduce inflammation overall.
Okay, I'm sold on apples being better than I thought. What about that myth, though, that only green apples like Granny Smiths, are okay.
Yeah, I hear that one a lot. Look, Granny Smiths are a great choice, definitely. They tend to be a bit lower in sugar, maybe 17 grams, good fiber. But other types like Gala, Fuji, they're fine too in moderation.
Moderation be the key word, as always.
Absolutely. It really comes down to portion size more than the specific variety.
So what's a reasonable portion? One apple?
Generally, yeah, one medium apple, maybe around 6 ounces or 180 grams, is a good benchmark.
And how should we eat them? Just munching on one is fine, but any other ideas?
Oh, sure. Sliced apple with a sprinkle of cinnamon is simple and great. Or dip slices in a tablespoon, not half the jar, of peanut butter for some protein and fat.
Good point on the portion size there.
Yeah, helps slow sugar absorption even more. Or chop half an apple into plain Greek yogurt with some walnuts.
Protein, fiber, healthy fats, nice combo.
Good ideas.
Yeah.
Any prep tips, like peel or no peel?
Definitely keep the peel on. So much of the fiber and nutrients are right there under the skin.
Okay, noted.
And really watch out for processed apple stuff. Store-bought applesauce, often loaded with sugar unless it specifically says unsweetened. Apple juice, forget it. The fiber's gone. It's a sugar hit waiting to happen.
Right.
And things like dried apple rings or snack packs can have added sugars, sulfites, other preservatives. Always, always read the label. Good advice. Are apples generally affordable?
Yeah, usually very budget-friendly, often less than $1 each, sometimes cheaper in bags. So it's an accessible way to get these benefits.
It really sounds like a win-win if eaten correctly. And there was a study mentioned in the source, too.
Yes, one in the journal Food and Function. It showed that regular apple consumption was linked to better blood sugar control, less inflammation, and improved glucose metabolism. So there's science backing this up.
So the bottom line for apples, far from being forbidden, they can actually be a really beneficial part of a diabetes management plan. Just eat them whole with the peel and watch the processed stuff.
You got it. Simple, fresh, beneficial.
Okay, let's move to our next fruit, mulberries. Now, I got to admit, these aren't usually top of mind when talking diabetes. They feel a bit obscure.
They definitely fly under the radar, which is a shame because, as our source material highlights, they have some pretty amazing specific benefits for diabetes.
Okay, intrigue peaked. Tell me more. What about their blood sugar impact?
Get this. Their glycemic index is super low, around 25, and the glycemic load is tiny, like 2 to 4 per serving.
Wow, 25. That's even lower than apples.
It really is. Now, carbs-wise, about 100 grams of fresh mulberries, that's a decent handful, has roughly 9.8 grams of sugar and about the same in total carbs. But they also pack in about 1.7 grams of fiber.
Okay, so net carbs around 8 grams. Still pretty low.
Very low. So you've got that fiber balancing the natural sugar again. But what makes mulberries really stand out are some specific compounds.
Like what?
Well, they're rich in resveratrol, the antioxidant also famous from red wine and grapes. That's linked to better insulin sensitivity.
Oh, resveratrol, okay.
But even more unique, mulberries contain something called 1-deoxynogeromycin. Let's just call it DNJ.
DNJ, never heard of it. What is that?
Oh, okay, this is cool. DNJ is like a natural carb blocker almost. It inhibits certain enzymes in your gut that break down carbs into simple sugars.
Wait, so it slows down how fast carbs turn into sugar.
Exactly. It means the glucose release into your bloodstream is much more gradual. It acts like a built-in buffer against big sugar spikes from the carbs you eat with the mulberries, potentially.
Oh, that sounds incredibly useful. A natural blood sugar buffer?
It's a fascinating property, yeah. And beyond DNJ and resveratrol, they're nutritionally solid, too.
What else is in them?
That same 100-gram serving gives you a hefty dose of vitamin C, almost half your daily need. Good potassium for heart and blood pressure, like apples, plus vitamin K, iron, calcium, and lots of those polyphenols, the plant compounds that fight inflammation and protect blood vessels.
So again, we're seeing benefits beyond just blood sugar, similar to apples.
Absolutely. There's potential support for the pancreas by reducing inflammation and stress there. For the heart, they might help lower LDL, the bad cholesterol, and maybe raise HDL, the good kind. That's crucial for folks with diabetes who have higher heart risks.
Makes sense.
They're also good for kidneys, low sodium, high antioxidants protect kidney tissue, and good for the gut, feeding those good bacteria, which helps digestion and blood sugar control.
It's amazing how much goodness can be packed into a small berry.
Isn't it? Plus, eye health benefits from vitamin C and anthocyanins, those dark pigments helping protect against diabetic retinopathy, a nice immune system boost. And again, some research hints resveratrol might help with fertility, though diabetes management is our focus here.
Right. Okay, so Loads of potential benefits. Now, the dried fruit question again. What about dried mulberries? You see those sometimes.
Good question. Like all dried fruit, the sugar is more concentrated. But dried mulberries still have some fiber, and importantly, they still contain that DNJ.
Oh, they do?
Yeah. So they're not off limits, but moderation is key. Think small amounts, maybe like 2 tablespoons. But if low sugar is the main goal, fresh is definitely better.
Gotcha. What's a good serving size for fresh ones?
About half a cup is a good measure. That's around 80 grams or so.
And how can we eat them, besides just popping them in our mouths?
They're great in Greek yogurt, like we said with apples. Blend them into smoothies. They add great color and flavor. Or just enjoy them plain.
Any recipes?
You could try an overnight pudding. Mix chia seeds, some protein powder if you like, unsweetened almond milk, and stir in fresh mulberries. Let it sit overnight. Makes a great breakfast or snack.
Ooh, that sounds good. Okay, shopping tips. What should we look for?
Fresh ones should be plump, dark, no mold. For dried, check the label. You really want to avoid added sugars, preservatives like sulfites or weird flavorings. Go for organic or just plain unsweetened if you can.
And definitely avoid mulberry syrup or juice, I'm guessing.
Oh, absolutely. Usually tons of added sugar, very little fiber. Stick to the whole fruit.
Makes sense. Are they expensive or hard to find?
Fresh ones can be seasonal and a bit pricier, maybe $4 to $6 for a small pack. Dried are usually easier to find year-round, maybe $8 to $10 a pound, but remember, a little goes a long way.
Okay. And is there science backing up the mulberry benefits too?
Yes, there is. A study in PLS1, for example, used mulberry extract in animal models. It showed improved blood glucose, reduced insulin resistance, and even protection for those insulin-producing beta cells in the pancreas.
Wow, that's quite direct.
It's very encouraging evidence, yeah.
Yeah.
Suggests real potential for blood sugar regulation.
So the key takeaway from mulberries, they're kind of a hidden gem for diabetes management. Super low GI, packed with antioxidants, and that unique DNJ compound helping block sugar absorption. Definitely worth considering.
Totally agree. A very smart choice.
All right, on to our third fruit. And this one causes arguments, practically, in the diabetes world. Bananas.
Oh, yeah, the big banana debate.
You hear it all the time. Don't touch bananas. Pure sugar. Is it really that simple?
It's probably the most common misconception we need to clear up because the reality, based on the info we have, is way more balanced.
Okay, lay it on us. What's the deal with bananas?
Right, so a medium banana, about 7 inches long, has around 27 grams of total carbs. Now, within that, you've got about 14 grams of natural sugar and about 3 grams of fiber. So net carbs work out to roughly 24 grams.
Okay, 24 grams net carbs. That still sounds kind of high compared to the others.
It does seem higher, yes, which is why context, portion size, and ripeness are absolutely crucial here. But first, let's talk glycemic index. A ripe banana is usually low to medium GI, around 51.
51. So not super high, but not as low as apples or mulberries.
Correct, it's moderate. But here's the really interesting thing about bananas, especially less ripe ones. Resistant starch.
Resistant starch, again, we mentioned that briefly. What does it do in bananas specifically?
So resistant starch is a carb your body doesn't really digest, like fiber. It slows sugar absorption, feeds good gut bacteria, helps you feel full. And here's the kicker. Bananas have more resistant starch when they're slightly green.
Wait, really? So a greenish banana affects blood sugar differently than a yellow spotty one?
Significantly differently, yes. As the banana ripens, that resistant starch converts into simple sugars. So a slightly green banana actually has less sugar and more of that beneficial resistant starch compared to a fully ripe one.
That is a game changer. I never realized ripeness mattered that much.
It's a huge factor. And beyond the carbs and starch, bananas bring other nutrients too.
Like potassium, right. They're famous for that.
Exactly. Excellent source of potassium, really important for blood pressure, heart function, nerves, muscles. You also get vitamin B6, good for nerves and metabolism, some vitamin C, magnesium, and antioxidants as well.
So putting it all together for someone with diabetes, can they fit bananas in?
Absolutely. But how is key? Moderation is paramount. Consider ripeness, maybe lean towards less ripe if you can. Portion size is critical, and they can definitely contribute to heart health, fiber, potassium, magnesium, help blood pressure and vessels, support kidney health, unless you're on a strict potassium restriction late stage, and aid digestion with that fiber and resistant starch.
So that blanket advice, diabetics can't eat bananas, is just wrong, or at least too simple.
It's an oversimplification, definitely. The key is smart management. Instead of a whole large banana, try half, especially as a snack.
Just half. Okay.
Yeah, and here's another great tip. Pair it. Have that half banana with some protein or healthy fat, a spoonful of peanut butter, a few almonds, some plain Greek yogurt.
Ah, the pairing trick again. Slows down the sugar absorption.
Exactly. Creates a much more balanced effect on blood sugar, less likely to cause a spike.
Any other good serving ideas?
Slicing half a banana into plain Greek yogurt with cinnamon and maybe some crushed walnuts, that's a really balanced, satisfying option.
Sounds good. And I assume the warning about processed versions applies here too. Banana chips, banana bread.
Oh, big time. Banana chips are often fried, might have added sugar or oil. Banana bread is basically cake, let's be honest, lots of sugar, refined flour. Smoothies can be calorie and sugar bombs depending on what else is in there.
Right.
Even those banana-flavored snacks often barely contain real banana. Again, read labels. Stick to the whole, fresh fruit whenever possible.
Got it. Are bananas affordable?
Oh yeah, usually one of the cheapest fruits out there. Very accessible.
And was there research on bananas and diabetes specifically?
Yes, the source mentioned a study in the Journal of the American College of Nutrition. It found that moderate banana intake, as part of balanced meals, didn't significantly harm blood glucose levels in people with type 2 diabetes. And it might even help with insulin response and gut health because of the nutrients.
Okay. So the final word on bananas,
hmm
not forbidden. It's all about portion control. Think half. Paying attention to ripeness, greener's better for blood sugar, and pairing it smartly.
That's the nuanced truth, yes.
Wow. Okay, we've covered a ton today. Apples, mulberries, bananas. Really busted some myths. What's the big picture takeaway you want people to leave with?
I think the most important message is having diabetes doesn't mean you have to give up fruit entirely. It's
Mhm.
really about making informed choices, understanding how different fruits work.
Right. It's not just good or bad.
Exactly. And these three fruits, apples, mulberries, bananas, they offer potential benefits that go way beyond just being sweet. We're talking better blood sugar management through fiber and unique things like DNJ, support for your heart, kidneys, eyes, digestion, immune system, even possibly fertility, though that's secondary.
It really flips the script, doesn't it? From restriction to smart inclusion.
It does. The key is focusing on whole, fresh, unprocessed fruits. And, critically, listening to your own body. See how you respond. Don't let old myths or fear stop you from enjoying the goodness fruit offers.
So instead of just thinking about what to cut out, diabetes management can also be about what you actively add in to build a healthier future. And the right fruits could be a delicious part of that.
Perfectly put. And that leads to a final thought for everyone listening. Which of these fruits sounds interesting to you? Which benefits resonate most with your health goals? Maybe consider trying one in moderation, prepared the right way.
Yeah, maybe do a little more digging into the science behind them. Talk to your doctor or dietitian about how they might fit into your plan.
Exactly. It's about empowering yourself with knowledge and making those smart, personalized choices.
Fantastic insights. Thanks so much for breaking all that down. Really valuable stuff.
My pleasure. Always good to dive deep into these topics.
Absolutely. Well, that's all for this deep dive. We'll catch you on the next one.